When I was in college, I was taught a rule that didn't make sense to me at the time, but I realized it's a very good foundational principle. But we should always define our terms before we begin to use them. And therefore, when we talk about modernism and postmodernism, we can mean two different things. And to start with, the word form is very important in philosophy. And usually it means the shape of something or the mold of something. So it's a physical object or a physical shape or something that makes the shape of something else physically. But when you use it in a Platonic sense for philosophy, a form is your abstract version of yourself in the Platonic realm. And it is also the ideal. For example, if you look at 2 plus 2 equals 4, now that is something entirely abstract. We're not talking about anything in the real world. We're saying in pure mathematics, which really doesn't exist in the real world. You might notice that 2 apples plus 2 apples equals 4 apples. And therefore you can intuit that 2 oranges plus 2 oranges equals the same number that when you did 2 plus 2 for the apples. So from that we derive the absolute abstract principle that 2 plus 2 equals 4. But in reality, there can only be concrete instances of 2 objects and 2 objects making 4 objects. 2 plus 2 equals 4 does not exist anywhere on this earth. But according to Plato, there was an abstract immaterial realm where it did exist. I'll give you another example where sheet music is the perfect ideal, what Beethoven wrote down, what Bach wrote down. And it's funny because I was just learning Bach wrote most of his music for the harpsichord that we now play for the piano. So that's the ideal. But as it's performed, it'll never be as perfect as it was meant in terms of the beat and the meter and the rhythm. So that will be irregular. That will always be subject to human mistakes and human timing and human rhythm. So continuing the differences between an abstract perfect ideal and a real object, you can have a perfect circle in the Platonic realm, but you can never draw a perfect circle. A human being can't. Or I've seen professors who come very close to one. But it can be very close, but it can't be a perfect circle. So it's ironic because there's few words in the English language where you'll have 2 opposite meanings, but form can mean something that is the physical shape of something, the material shape, like I use the mold to form my empanadas into shape, or I use the rigatoni maker to form the pasta into shape. Or it can be the perfect ideal, which is the Platonic form of the color blue exists in the Platonic realm. And we recognize the color blue down here because it evokes the perfect blue in the realm. But I'll give you another example in English grammar. We can say she swam in good form, and by that we're saying that she took the shape of the perfect swimmer, and it was very good compared to the ideal. Or when we say the evil stepmother took the form of an old lady, she took the shape of, she looked like an old lady. Or we use the mold to form the cake batter into a cake. Again, these all refer to the physical shape of something. That is the commonality, and it refers to the word form in the physical sense. And in the first sentence, you'll see that when I say the word form, I'm referring to an ideal. Whereas in the second two sentences, when we use the word form, we're referring to the physical shape of something, not an ideal. And for another example, most of the rocks from this area formed from lava. They were made from lava. They took shape from lava. But to bring it back to philosophy, when we use that word, we do not mean a physical shape. We do not mean a physical body. We mean an immaterial shape. We mean an abstract, perfect body, an ideal which cannot exist on this realm. So the sentence is, before all of us existed as bodies in this life, we were Platonic forms in the abstract realm. Again, when we're using the word form here, we do not refer to a physical object. We do not refer to anything that